Peter, the music's awfully sad. Are you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You sure you want to talk about it, bud?
I really don't want to. Okay, I will.
All right.
So, I was just on vacation with my family. We like to go down to the Ozarks and kick it.
Yeah, it's magical.
And it was fine. We had a great time. But I wanted to do a little special thing. It's the last time with the kids. They grow up so fast.
They do.
Know that.
They really do, yeah.
So I decided, instead of bringing my iPhone 17 Plus Max Executive Edition, I was going to go old school. You remember a little company called Kodak?
Of course, yeah.
Rochester, New York.
Shout out Rochester.
And I got an old Instamatic. I pulled it out of the attic. And I was able to find some film, 110. And I shot pictures of the kids playing in the lake. I shot selfies of the wife and me walking by the lake, which is hard with that kind of camera.
Yeah, it really
but
is.
we did it.
Wow.
So I collected all these little memories, these little moments, right? I brought them back with me here. Then I had to find a place to get the film developed. And I found it.
Walgreens.
But then the story takes a dark turn. They had to send the film out. And I've been waiting for those little memories, those moments.
Yeah.
Been waiting.
It's hard. Yeah, I'm sure. But, Peter, I'm sure someday your prince will come. Yeah? Yeah? I'm Adam Manis.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear podcast.
Music Explored.
Explored, brought to you today by Open Studio. Go to openstudiojazz.com for all
Just a little
jazz lessons.
A little musical accoutrement.
Some noodles happening. Hey, Peter, we got a brand new newsletter. Speaking of, of You'll Hear It.
Read all about
podcast. Yeah, it's called You'll Read It. And it is presented by our very own producer, Caleb. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. Like we just did the Fleetwood Mac album, and our audio producer, Sam, did this whole breakdown of how they had to crank up the EQs to get the sound they were going for. It's fascinating. And
you know what? I wish I'd had that newsletter before we did the episode. That would have been helpful.
No, it's definitely worth subscribing to the newsletter. You get a brief email every week talking about some of the inside stuff that happens here on the podcast.
There is a charge for the newsletter. It's $0.
Yeah, it's free 50. But Peter, today we're going back to a classic, man.
Oh, yes, we are. I love this record.
Oh, I love it. It's one of my favorite all-time Miles Davis albums. One of my favorite albums of the 1960s. One of my favorite straight-ahead jazz albums of all time.
Would you say this or Giant Steps is your favorite record from the 60s?
You know what? I'm going to ignore that because Giant Steps is from 1959-ish. Now, this is Miles Davis's 1961 classic, Someday My Prince Will Come, featuring John Coltrane and Hank Mobley on the tenor saxophones, Wynton Kelly on the piano, Paul Chambers on the bass, and Jimmy Cobb on the drums. Classic lineup right there.
And everyone, this was a cool thing. You don't see this a lot anymore. Everybody's name is on the cover. all the sidemen, as it were.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a funny thing. It says Miles Davis Sextet. This was not the Miles Davis Sextet.
Not at all.
The Miles Davis Sextet had disbanded a year or so before when Cannonball Adderley left.
That's right.
The Kind of Blue group. But I wonder if this wasn't a little bit coming off the success of Kind of Blue, of Columbia Records being like Miles Davis Sextet. I mean, there's 6 people playing on it.
Not at the same time.
Not at the same time, right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, John Coltrane's on 2 of the tracks. We're going to get deep into that because that's certainly illustrious, innovative part of this record. But it's basically a quintet record. This was Miles's working quintet in 1961, and I believe even starting in 1960. Train had officially left the band by this point.
Yeah.
John Coltrane. I call him Train.
Yeah, no, you old friends.
Yeah, old friends. And Miles went through a lot of different tenor players. I mean, he had Sonny Stitt, Jimmy Heath, I believe Johnny Griffin. I'm not sure about that, but I mean, he had different people. Jimmy Forrest from St. Louis. There's some recordings from him right around that time, from right around the corner from here in Gaslight Square. But, you know, I mean, Coltrane was a huge, monumental presence in this group. So was Cannonball Adderley on the alto.
Hard to replace either of them,
exactly.
honestly. Yeah, and obviously Miles wasn't satisfied probably till he found George Coleman, right?
I think so. I mean, I think so. And then, I mean, think about, Hank Mobley, John Coltrane, Hank Mobley, Jimmy Heath, Sonny Stitt, Wayne Shorter. I'm just thinking all the tenor players from the 60s on, just an incredible lineup all the way up to like Branford Marsalis up in the early 80s. Miles loved tenor players. And I mean, I think everything that we think about for the sort of modern jazz quintet sort of came from that Miles Davis sensibility of trumpet, tenor sax, piano, bass, and drums.
And, the trumpet tenor sax thing is important, but to me, what's so exciting about this album, and we'll talk about this more later, is that there's no more important relationship, I think, in this era of music, possibly, than that of Miles Davis and John Coltrane. Whenever Miles hands off a solo to John Coltrane, it's usually one of the most magical, 30-second periods of any recorded music.
Yeah.
Because these are 2 masters that are ever present in what's happening and ever contrasting each other. And to me, it's some of the most magical stuff. So some of my favorite things my favorite thing that happens on this album is one of those classic handoffs. One of my favorite things. Foreshadowing for sure.
Well, it's interesting you say this about Coltrane and Miles because there's a lot of stories, a lot of lore, probably some disinformation.
Sure.
Check out what Coltrane said about Miles and how he helped him.
How would you say working with Miles Davis has influenced you stylistically?
Well, it has led me into most of the things that I'm doing now.
He made you play the way you do, or you got a chance to play like
well,
you
I've
do?
been free. I've been so free here, that almost anything I want to try I'm welcome to do it, So that's the freedom has helped me.
Words of John Coltrane. And we hear this echoed from, Wayne Shorter later on, certainly Herbie Hancock, Jimmy Cobb in interviews and stories over the year about Miles and how he could set the table of a musical situation, be it a band for several years with different people coming in and out, or a performance. You see it in the live gigs and stuff. And we're going to talk about the Black Hawk because that was right around the same time.
Yeah.
You can feel it on these Columbia sessions for sure.
For sure. Columbia sessions are, I think, my favorite Miles sessions. But as you mentioned, Miles is, even more so than maybe a trumpet player or a composer, is a tastemaker. Like his taste, I think, is what sets him apart and puts him into like the stratosphere level. But look at just look at the entire thing here.
Yeah.
The cover is so on point.
Yeah.
And and that has a lot to do with Miles. Like Miles making these kinds of pushes towards how things are going to look, how things are going to sound, how things are going to feel, going all the way down to the personnel he picks, the tunes he picks, even as we'll talk about some of the chord changes in some of the standards that he picks.
Yeah.
Very intentional.
Very intentional. So this album, I believe, was the first, it was right around the same time as the Black Hawk Friday and Saturday Night. But when Miles began demanding that his album covers feature African-American women, he put his wife, Frances Taylor, the beautiful and extremely talented and legendary ballet dancer who had her own incredible career before she was married with Miles and after as well with the Dunham Dance Group. And she was, the Paris Ballet and a lot of crazy stuff that she was able to do. But Miles said in his autobiography, it was my album and I was Frances Francis's Prince. And she was also on the cover of the Black Hawk Columbia Records, the Live from the Club in San Francisco, and then famously a few years later on ESP, right before they broke up. They're both on the cover. That's a great album cover as well.
Yeah, and very tumultuous relationship, especially towards the end, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, Francis got the short end of the stick on this one for sure.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this probably later in the accoutrements section, but another thing Miles started doing was demanding or requesting, probably turned into a demand, that there be no liner notes on his records. And for this whole period, there weren't. He said, I never thought there was nothing nobody could say about an album of mine. He said this in his autobiography, great autobiography, Miles, controversial autobiography. I just wanted people to listen to the music and make up their own minds. So he's really starting to get into that period where let the music speak for itself. If you think about like all the, Blue Note Records, Prestige, Impulse, a lot of the stuff before this, and even during this period, there was a real trend towards, Ira Gittler, Nat Hentoff, these great writers to write liner notes. But because of the impact, and look, even when I was coming up looking at LPs, it's like you're reading the back of it, right?
Yeah.
And so the critics' narrative about the record really had an impact, I think, on how we received that, how we consumed it. And so I think Miles was very prescient in his thinking that, beautiful photography, composition, but just let the music speak for itself. You got the legal stuff with the publishing and whatever, the list of the tracks produced by Tio Macero, and that's it.
I get it, man. I mean, I love music journalism in general, and it's helped me to discover some things and think about some of my favorite albums in different ways for sure. But there is a limit to what just language can say about music. I think that was the famous quote, writing about music is like dancing about architecture. Like there's just no relation between what we can put into language versus what music actually does to us and how it affects us. And instinctually, I think when you're making it, language seems so cheap to talk about it. I mean, famously, Miles didn't love to talk about the process of making music either, with his band. It was very much I'll show you, let's figure this out by doing it more than by talking about it. And I think it's a really wise philosophy to take on something that can't be talked about, really.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, in that spirit of that,
let's talk about it for an hour.
let's listen to the first track I was going to say. Here we go.
No, we can definitely appreciate it, but making it is a whole other thing. Is it enough?
Yeah. Wynton Kelly on the piano, of course. Paul Chambers, Jimmy Cobb. Oh. That Wynton Kelly dance.
Wynton Kelly kind of steal this album a little bit.
Extended intro. Precision PC. Jab. And then payoff. Man, this is so in the pocket.
Oh my God.
But it's so beautiful and epic at the same time. My God.
Absolutely amazing.
And I think you hear Paul Chambers just dotted half, just dotted half notes. That's allowing, Wynton Kelly to really jump. Jimmy Cobb just swinging, Miles. Miles with the harmon mute. Oh, I mean, come on.
This is the best version of straight ahead jazz. I mean, this is straight ahead mid 20th century jazz at its peak.
Man, Wynton Kelly's little interjections on this whole album, but especially this track. And then, you know, Miles's intonation on this is pretty incredible because harmony mutes famously make everything sharp.
Yeah.
And trumpet players usually start sharp anyway. Oh, right here. Check this phrase out. Oh. And this next phrase here this is like the weirdest he gets on this record. But it's still so beautiful that like his tone, like that's the weirdest part. Is this a perfect solo?
It might be.
Jimmy Cobb's transition from brushes to sticks. Nobody does it like that. Well, everybody copied him, so I mean, there's that. Hank Mobley. We're gonna talk about Hank. So I got an initial question for you, Adam.
Yeah.
Is there a letdown going from Miles' solo, not in terms of the rhythm section and the swing and the feel, but like in terms of the intensity of the swing of the soloist and the lyricism from Miles to Hank Mobley? Oh, snare drum. Hank's played some great stuff though.
I think this is and I don't think there's anything wrong with what Hank Mobley's doing, and it's not like Hank Mobley's not swinging because he certainly is.
Miles has some problems.
I know Miles has some issues, but I think it's artistic. Like they're not similar, Miles and Hank, but Hank is so relaxed.
Yeah.
And there's like what I was talking about earlier about Miles and Train is Miles has this relaxed, easy, lyrical, long note phrases style. And then Train comes in all the time with absolute fire after a Miles solo. And it's just like the most refreshing, eye-opening thing. And both of those are great. And so I think when Hank Mobley comes in here after Miles, it's not a letdown, but it's just not as like, especially with this, and it's hard not to be a little bit biased, having listened to this my whole life, but especially knowing that the Train solo is coming.
I know.
The John Coltrane solo, which is going to be like so incredible, is coming. It's just not fair to Hank Mobley to put them next to each other like that. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Especially because the chemistry between Miles and John Coltrane is so, I mean, it's the best that ever was. Right? So like, man, how do you compare those two? You know?
Right. I mean, I think Hank Mobley, I diverge a little bit from your opinion in that I think there is a little bit of a letdown. But I don't think it's like Hank Mobley is perfectly serviceable. Like he's playing the changes, he's playing nice melody, he's swinging. He just doesn't, and it's not just of Miles. To me, he doesn't have the intensity of the groove and the spirit of the music like Wynton Kelly. Yeah. Like Jimmy Cobb. I mean, Jimmy Cobb is very subtle, but it's so
Jimmy
skillful.
Cobb's a master.
Man, it's so masterful.
Incredible.
There's nothing like, he's not going crazy on anything, but like everything's in the right place.
Yeah.
Like, holistically, the whole thing works. And I don't think Mobley does anything to mess that up. And I think it's fine. It's not like I get to that and I'm like fast forwarding. Yes, of course, if you know that the John Coltrane, which you have to wait until we get a little later to come to that. Yeah. I want to play just a little bit of Wynton Kelly's solo because, I mean, classic Wynton Kelly. You know what you're going to get and you love it. Choked ride cymbal.
Man, such a great solo. Wynton Kelly, like infinitely, if transcribable. Like if you're a beginner pianist, an intermediate pianist, and you want someone to transcribe that's going to teach you how to swing, going to teach you the language, the building blocks of the language of the music, Wynton Kelly's your pianist.
I think there's one person to transcribe, or at least listen to and cop this stuff, would be Herbie Hancock.
100%.
In fact,
great call.
I want to just jump back a little bit to the introduction again. This is one of the greatest starts to a record. Yeah. So
you think Herbie maybe?
I don't know if this is the exact back voicing. But the thing with this is, so this tune is in B flat. The rest of the record's in F, by the way, which is insane. Every tune's in F. This starts on F.
All of the songs are in F except for Someday My Prince Will Come, which is in B flat. But it starts on an F pedal.
And goes to F a lot.
Yeah.
But this kind of like, this major seventh, you've got the suspended fourth and the third at the same time.
Yeah.
And then he goes down to the... These are very much like voicings you're going to hear Herbie Hancock with Miles Davis like a year later.
I mean, he had to have been checking it out. He's a young pianist. Miles Davis is the biggest jazz artist there is. I'm sure he's listening to these records and learning stuff.
Yeah. So this is what Miles did say about Hank Mobley. This is Miles saying. This is not me.
Okay.
This is not Adam.
All right.
Miles said, the music was starting to bore me because I didn't like what Hank Mobley was playing in the band.
Brutal.
Playing with Hank just wasn't fun for me. He didn't stimulate my imagination.
I mean, you that's pretty
Miles,
much what you
tell
were
us
saying.
what you really feel.
Yeah.
Don't hold back.
Don't you think that Hank fit a little bit better on the Live at the Black Hawk, which was just a month later?
I thought he was killing on that.
Yeah.
Like,
The music is
1 month later.
Has
Same
a lot
band.
more energy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I
on the other
can
hand,
see what you're saying
I
here.
think this is one of the like if you were to say what's a perfect jazz record from any time, this would be on my list of like top 5 or top 10. It might even be top 1 for like Hank Mobley doesn't detract from this record. He maybe doesn't add what Miles or a lot of people, what could be, but Train is on there. We're going to get to that later. But anyway, and he's on the Black Hawk, so it's all good. Why don't we go on to, this is B flat, and then we're getting into track number 2, which is Old Folks. There's some beautiful ballads. There's really 3, but there's 2 in particular standards. Basically, you got 3 originals and 3 standards on this record, which is an interesting 3. The 3 originals are all Miles compositions. They're all named after people that were in his life. Pfrancing is for Frances, his wife. Tio is for Tio Macero, the producer of this record. Shout out Tio on this. And then Drad-Dog, we'll talk about that. That's a fun one. But what the first standard, of course, was Someday My Prince Will Come, which is the name of the record and what we open with. This has a very interesting history because, of course, it was from the Disney movie Snow White. Do you remember this? 1937?
Someday my prince will come. Someday.
It's a hell of a vibrato she's got.
Right. That's like a 15-year-old singer, Adriana Casolati.
Shout out Italy.
Right. She's actually American, Italian-American. Okay, so that was that. This is a crazy story. There was a group actually in a concentration camp in Germany, 1943, that was the first jazz version. Of course, there's no recording of that. There's a lot in the song we can recognize now why this would become a jazz standard, but that was the first version of it. The name of the group was the Ghetto Swingers, so we want to acknowledge them.
Oh, my God.
That was 1943. And then there was a bunch of different versions. There was the Dave Brubeck in 57 recorded this. Bill Evans, that was the other one that I kind of knew.
Yeah.
Do I have that on here?
From Portrait in Jazz.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, we talked about this when we did the trio.
Riverside.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is 1959.
It's a great sound.
Yeah. So that's, of course, something that, Miles would have heard. I mean, Bill was playing with Miles right before this period as well. So that's probably sort of the genesis of it. But it was already kind of a jazz standard. And, of course, there's some great versions of Keith Jarrett doing this. I heard him do it live at Juan Le Pen, the great Antibes Festival, and he did it at the Deerhead Inn, that great live record.
It's a really fun tune to play. Do you play this tune?
Yeah, I'll play a little bit.
Yeah, it's my kind of go-to if we want like a standard in 3.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Yeah.
For sure. I love it.
Okay, so here's the second track. Every one of these tunes on this record, there's 6 tracks, they all start so well. I always think about, like, you talk about perfection in terms of how you're getting into something, how you're getting out of it. The sound is incredible on here.
This is Old Folks, yeah?
This is Old Folks.
This is a masterpiece. So this is like the ideal ballad.
Yeah.
The ideal Miles ballad.
Kind of textbook stuff for all instruments,
it's
right?
Unbelievable.
Space. So it's 1961, Adam.
Yeah,
Could you imagine sitting in
amazing.
your living room, maybe in Manhattan, with your mid-century modern
Drinking a
furniture,
Manhattan.
drinking a Manhattan,
Yeah.
holding this in your hands? That would be all right.
That would be all right. Man, can we just talk a little bit about mutes? So
Yes.
you mentioned the Harmon mute there.
Which is all of this. It's like F on this record.
It's everything's in F and everything is in a Harmon mute. So
Yeah.
Miles Davis obviously playing the trumpet, and there are several different kinds of mutes that you can use with a trumpet. So one of the more common ones, you might hear Miles Davis play a straight mute.
Yeah, this is what a straight mute looks like.
Ding. So this is Night in Tunisia, Charlie Parker.
And you shove the straight mute and the Harmon mute in the bell of the trumpet.
The straight mute is a cone. It's a straight cone, and you shove it in. It's made usually, I think, of like, this is straight mute.
Yeah. Miles like mutes. He's a mute guy.
But you can hear it. It doesn't have the buzz
Right.
that the Harmon mute has. It just mutes it.
What was that, Disney?
I think it's Miles. Yeah. So there's the straight mute, and that was very, very common, I think, before the Harmon mute.
Yeah.
And then there's a plunger mute is another kind of mute.
Which was originally an actual plunger. Clark Terry.
It's Clark Terry with a plunger mute. And this gives you the wah-wah
Right.
sound. You would hear it a lot of like Duke Ellington, Count
Right.
Basie kind of stuff.
It's actually used from a common bathroom plunger.
Yeah.
Fun
They-
fact.
People still use the
Yeah.
common bathroom.
Oh,
So this has a very vocal quality.
Yeah.
And then there's the Harmon mute, which is what Miles is playing all over this album.
Yeah,
on
all the
Old
ballads.
Folks. And you can hear it's got this buzzy, it's metal.
it's metal. Yeah.
There's also a couple pieces. You can put the stem in, which makes
Right.
it very quiet and
Yeah.
soft, or the stem
And
out.
corny sounding.
A little
with the
corny
stem.
sounding.
Miles usually played with stemless.
Stemless, yeah. You could also wah-wah this
Yep.
with your hand if you
Yep.
wanted to. But this
The
is
stem
the,
gives it that buzzy sound.
yeah. It's hard for trumpet players now to play these Harmon mutes
Yeah.
and not be
Miles.
Miles,
Yeah.
invoking Miles.
And then-
That's how iconic he made the Harmon mute.
Yeah, and also like the way that you play on the mic, you can play a lot closer on the mic.
Yes.
They probably weren't in the recording studio. This is shout out Columbia 30th Street,
Hell yeah.
the church. I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
the sound on this record. Fred Plout is the engineer.
Shout out Fred.
Shout out Fred, man. To me,
Plout.
and I mean, I know
Plout's
we talk
got
about
clout.
Plout's, yeah, man. Yeah, Fred did. I mean, he did Time Out. That's a great sounding record, Dave.
You think?
Some of the biggest records of all. West Side Story, Leonard Bernstein.
Come on, man.
Ever heard of it?
That's a great sounding
yeah.
score from
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
a little record called Kind of Blue.
I never heard of it. Never heard
But
of
I think what you see here is like this was a period for Miles where like it wasn't necessarily the peak of his fame because later on he stayed famous and maybe even got more famous. But this was the beginning of like because of the success of Kind of Blue, and we always think of Kind of Blue as being the slow burn to millions of sales, which is true. But it was a huge hit.
Yeah.
And this was a time when Columbia Records, and I mean, yes, to a certain degree, Prestige, Blue Note, Impulse, you had these great Riverside, great jazz labels that were doing amazing things. But Columbia Records, like they were able to take the promotional muscle, the accoutrements, right? The
Accoutrements.
album, the photography, the design, and really lifted up just a few jazz artists up to this superstar status level. And to put something like this out, I mean, to me, the sound on this record, the production of it, it kind of brings everything together. Like if you listen, and this was great stuff, 1958, just 2 years before, Prestige, from the Workin', Steamin', Relaxin', great records. That's Ray Garland on piano. Miles is going to be on Harmon again. And this is great stuff, right? Incredible. I love these records, but I can see how this for a larger audience, the stuff on Kind of Blue and Someday My Prince Will Come with the sound of that Columbia sound and everything was a little bit more popular.
Well, it sounds
Am I
better.
allowed to say that? Oh, sounds better.
I think so.
Boom, roasted. There you go. All right, should we go on to the third track? Okay, so now we're getting into, we started out the first track, of course, in 3,
Yeah.
the waltz. Then we
Yeah.
got the beautiful old folks ballad. Now we've got a little bit. Oh. How do you like your swing?
Swinging.
And let's just check out the start of this one more time, because to leave in Miles' 3 snaps, what a cool thing. I like this piano sound. The piano is not in tune totally, but I like it. It's not perfectly voiced either.
Yeah.
Hank Mobley's on point there. Miles had that tone.
You think Miles was like, we had so much success with Freddie Freeloader, just let Wynton Kelly take it.
This is so Freddie Freeloader-esque.
But if you had Wynton Kelly in your band, you'd let him take the first solo on every blues he played, right?
Yeah, and then Miles gonna come cut him off, as he often did.
Set the table, cut him off when you're done.
Right. Yeah, and this kind of swing, it's not like it's the right way to swing, but it's a way.
It's the right way to swing. What are you talking about?
Two choruses, that's it.
So no mute in here. Open trumpet for the first time.
First time. With the end of the first A side. I almost feel like, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to take this back. Check this out. Wynton Kelly's reminding Miles how to swing. Check it out.
Wow. That's a bold statement, my friend.
So Miles kind of comes and cuts him off. There's that one, and there's another one. I mean, of course, Miles is swinging. But listen to the little interjections to Wynton Kelly.
This is a great Miles solo, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
that swing. You like it?
I love it, man. I was just thinking, I love this solo on Pfrancing from Miles. It's one of my favorite Miles solos.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, Miles Davis being arguably the most popular jazz musician, certainly of this era.
Yeah.
And somehow the least copied of his own soloing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His bands are copied.
Right.
And the players around him are copied a lot.
Yep.
But somehow, I mean, I suppose some trumpet players certainly have made careers, copying him a little bit, but
not that part.
Not that kind of play. And certainly
agree.
other instrumentalists, well, maybe I'm not reading enough into it, but for pianists, it's so hard to copy what he's doing. It's so hard to do these like long lyrical passages on our instrument that has a finite sustain.
Right.
That's way more finite than what Miles has. That it's kind of amazing. Like, it just makes me want to transcribe some more Miles. Like, I feel like, oh man, wouldn't it be great to have more of that, less of even the Wynton Kelly stuff.
Right.
In our playing, to have more of the space and just his general attitude and philosophy on improvising and making others sound good with his melodies and making the audience want to listen to what he's playing.
Yeah.
They want to listen to it. It's not a bunch of like fast note bullshit. There's some fast notes for sure, but he's not doing anything to impress. In fact, he's kind of he's kind of like, it's almost like punk rock before there was punk rock. Like he's like
punk attitude.
I mean, he plays with Bird and he's like, okay, I'm bored with this fireworks, these like acrobatics that we can do with bebop. And I'm just going to play these long, beautiful melodies, mostly with arm and mute. Yeah. It's really something. And then he turns away from that eventually in the late 60s and early 70s.
Constantly evolving.
And then he turns away from that. It's that to me is like the lesson from Miles. Is like,
He never turns away from the harmony.
If you see the Buddha on the path, kill him. Like it's an old Buddhist saying, right? Of like if you realize you found something good, turn the other way.
Absolutely,
kind of thing, right? Because you probably the spirit of searching is the goal, not what you're actually doing.
Yeah, and I think that this very direct, lyrical, beautiful playing with the harmony, that's the one thing he never turned away from.
Yeah.
Like even going to like the early 80s, Time After Time.
Even the late 80s, and the late 80s, the early 90s,
right.
yeah. Still playing all that.
Decoy.
Yeah. It's just his harmony mutes were purple.
Yeah, exactly. That's where his sequined outfits.
Where his suits.
I mean, the thing is, like, too, he... Talking about you're talking about bebop and him sort of turning away from that. I think he was somebody, and I may be reading something in it. I don't have any insider info on this outside of what I hear and the stories that I've heard. And I got my ear on the streets, and I got the streets.
You got your nose to the grind zone. You got your ear on the streets. Yeah.
No, but he was
head in the clouds, feet on the ground.
Like he knew how to do the stuff that he could do well. And that was this. Like this record is like textbook stuff that Miles can kill it on.
Yeah.
Key of F. Harmony mute, a lot of ballads, you know.
I think he could play it other keys.
No, he could, but I'm saying like everything is like within his range, and his range was not small.
Yeah.
But like playing fast beat, I mean, he did that. He could do that, but it was also like Clifford Brown and Fats Navarro and Dizzy Gillespie.
Yeah.
They could do that better.
Well,
but to play a ballad like this with a harmony mute, no one could do it better.
I mean, Freddie Hubbard is about to jump on the scene.
Yeah, he already was.
And like, what are you going to do when you hear that? You're like,
Exactly.
well, nobody's going to be better than that, so I got to do my own thing.
And this would totally diminish things to say like Miles knew his lane, because this is a big lane, but this really set the template. I mean, think about just a couple years later, a year later, right? Or 2 years later, he's got Herbie Hancock, Tony Williams, Ron Carter, who were all students of this rhythm section of Wynton Kelly, Paul Chambers, Jimmy Cobb.
Yeah.
You've got George Coleman, then you've got Wayne Shorter, a couple other saxophone players in there as well.
Wayne Shorter, also a notorious searcher, never staying too long on
and I mean
his laurels.
And Herbie too. I mean, like how much of Wayne and Herbie's and Tony's, I mean, a searcher,
for sure,
with what he
that
was
whole
going
band,
to
that
do.
whole
how much of that came from Miles?
Ron Carter as well.
I
think that's the spirit was, especially by that time where Miles is now like a significant generation above those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of 10, 15 years ahead.
Yeah, like this is more like he's probably 5 years older than Paul Chambers, I assume, or maybe 10.
Yeah.
But like with the next band, he would be like the elder statesman.
Exactly.
For sure. Yeah.
And I mean, I know it's maybe not seem like it has a lot to do with the music, but being a musician, if I was like Herbie and them at that time, I mean, Miles was like, he had his place on legendary 4-story townhouse on West 77th Street, Upper West Side, that was like a converted church or something, this huge house that him and Frances Taylor, after they were married, moved into, that he bought. Mm-hmm. And what he was like, like Frank Sinatra was going over there and Harry Belafonte, and he's having parties. And if you're a young Herbie Hancock going there to rehearse, and he's got the intercom system where he's upstairs listening to what they're playing.
Some impressive shit.
That was some impressive shit.
Some good tech.
You're rolling up in there, you know, uptown. And so it's like... he was really in his element, I think, during this time. I know there was a lot of tumultuous stuff with their marriage and all that fell apart, but this was the beginning of like such a fruitful period for Miles, I think, artistically.
Yeah, he was going through some pretty tragic stuff in his personal life during this time, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's struggling with addiction
and
pain. I didn't even know this, but he had a lot of chronic pain issues that he was like medicating with prescription pills, but also cocaine and alcohol, admittedly.
Yeah.
And even Miles said, while we're on Pfrancing, this is probably appropriate, but he had this. It turned paranoid during this era. I had turned into something like Phantom of the Opera in that brownstone.
And he talks about that in the book. And so it's interesting. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to kind of roll through these quick because we want to get to some categories where we're going to hit some of our most favorite parts of the music. Just play the beginning of Drad-Dog. So Drad-Dog, this is like the only track on here, I think, that's not played a lot. I know it's like in the real book and stuff, but I never hear anybody playing this. And it's a great Miles Davis ballad kind of based upon some very standard-ass kind of chord changes in the key of F. And it's Goddard Lieberson, who was the Columbia Records president during this whole period, legendary record executive. It's named after him. It's his name backwards.
Goddard.
Yeah. Drad-Dog. another great vehicle for Miles. It's beautiful Harmon tone. Man, I can't tell you how
Trying to think of
how impressive Wynton Kelly's. If you're a pianist, it's beautiful to listen to. His little subtle accompaniment here is. Everybody, of course.
Is this a contrafact?
It's a little bit of I thought about you.
Yeah, it's not exactly.
It's not exactly, but it's. Okay, we're going to come back to this later because my apex moments actually is coming along, but I want to get through the whole record because it's 6 tracks. It's got some little parts of I Thought About You from Johnny Mercer.
Drad-Dog's an interesting one.
Yeah. It's basically just a vehicle for some beautiful, more ballad playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is super romantic record. I've always thought of this as, you see
100%.
Yeah.
100% a romantic. I mean,
maybe just because when I was listening to this as an LP, I'm looking at beautiful women, listening to beautiful music and a lot of ballads on it and a cool.
Look how cool Miles
picture,
is on the back of that album cover.
Yeah.
No, this is definitely like akin to Kind of Blue, and that it's a very romantic album.
Yeah.
It's a very, like you put this on, middle, late October, leaves are falling, you're walking through Central Park kind of thing.
Introspective. Nostalgic too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Tio after Tio Marceo.
Yeah. The producer
Macero,
and Macero. Compatriot of Miles through this whole period. Oh, Jimmy Cobb.
F minor?
Yeah. The rhythmic precision here. The syncopation, the choices. Woo.
This is underrated Miles.
And he had recorded this, I believe, before this. Maybe on one of those live records.
Yeah, this is a haunting tune.
Very simple tune. Over F minor. Woo! He did this a number of different ways on different records. Man, and then the recording of the drums on here, it feels like, get some good speakers or some good cans or whatever. Jimmy Cobb. I can feel him here, you know?
Yeah.
Like the way he would.
How many more Wynton Kelly PC albums with Miles are there after this? There's the Black Hawk.
Yeah, the Black Hawk.
And Jimmy Cobb, too, right?
I think that live at Carnegie Hall, which must have been right around the same period.
But by 62, he starts transitioning.
I think so, yeah. Bill Evans comes back a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Herbie Hancock.
Victor Feldman, I think.
Victor Feldman's in
7 Steps to Heaven.
So this is very much like the kind of, maybe not necessarily the groove, although it could be coming out of the modality of Kind of Blue, with the open sections.
Yes, this feels like this could have been the final track on Kind of Blue almost. Or even Sketches of Spain vibes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or Porgy and Vest.
And Sketches of
vibes.
Spain was actually the record he recorded right before this.
That makes sense.
Like that was the release right before this on Columbia. Was a totally different kind of thing with a larger band and everything. But yeah, it's coming out of the spirit of that. And then we've got the last track on here. And in a lot of ways, to end on a ballad like this makes a lot of sense. I think it's an interesting bookends thematically. And it's got one of the great introductions of all time.
I want to talk about that first chord. This is a beautiful song.
And I thought about you.
is Jimmy Van Heusen and Johnny Mercer, I believe.
Yep. And this is actually my Desert Island track, so this is good. We're gonna segue right into our categories, but beautiful melody. Miles plays it like, I mean, he's singing. Is he the most lyrical trumpet player we have from our tradition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily. That note.
Oh. Man, Wynton Kelly's accompaniment of him is masterful. Miles would have been somebody difficult to accompany. Woo. Okay, Herbie stole that voicing.
For sure.
Yeah. Shout out
I think Herbie's checking this out.
Yeah.
This whole album.
So you were saying you had some insights on the beginning, right? On that intro?
Yeah, so I Thought About You is a tune by Johnny Mercer and Jimmy Van Heusen. So I Thought About You, if we do it here in the key of F, traditionally the first chord is F, right? And so the changes would be something like F, E7, A7, D7.
By changes, he means the chords, the harmony.
Yeah. If you look up sort of the original sheet music, it's something like that. So Miles doesn't start on F. He starts on a chord, a tritone away from F, which is the most dissonant you can be from F. He starts on a B chord.
It's mysterious, right?
It is. He starts on a B,
half
minor
diminished.
7, flat 5, B half diminished. So he's still getting the A7 on the third chord, but instead of F, E7, he does...
Which gives it a different feel, right? It's like
gives it a whole other
It's
thing.
unsettled a little bit.
Like, so this is how it would traditionally start. Which feels very much an F, but this is how Miles
very
starts
settled.
it.
Boo doo boo wee dee dee dow. Same melody.
Yeah.
But I thought about you.
Isn't that interesting though?
It's super interesting because, and check it out. Wynton Kelly's
starts on the
introduction,
B, on that weird chord.
But this is all kind of leading somewhere, and Wynton Kelly leads to that F, right? Like it would be ba ba da da da, but it doesn't.
It doesn't. It does that.
So it's just like this is what,
and they do a minor here. Traditionally, that would be.
Yeah, these are like chord
A7.
substitutions, and you might think, oh, I don't care about that. I'm not a musician, but it gives you a different feel, right? As a listener, it's like it could be a little bit forlorn, it could be a little nostalgic, it could be a little unsettled, and then the payoff is, well, it feels like it's gonna go there, if it still hasn't gone there.
Yeah,
the relative minor.
We take this stuff for granted now,
and now is the first time it goes to a settled major.
To the 4 chord.
Yeah, but it's not the actual one.
We take all these little moves for granted, but that whole B half diminished to B flat 7 to A minor instead of A7, and make it just a little bit like more forlorn, more melancholy. It's takes it out of, it wasn't hokey before, but it's like, it was a song written in 1939, so it felt like the 30s more than it would feel like the 60s, and this brings it into the 60s.
And again, as we talk about Miles being such a great tastemaker, such a great, almost like like he's the host at a dinner party where it's like, you're going to sit there, you're going to, like, he's arranging these things. He probably heard somebody else like Ahmad Jamal or Bill Evans or Art Tatum or whatever play that chord on this tune, or maybe he came up with it. It doesn't really matter. Like, he set it there. And like this became the standard. In fact, a lot of the sheet music and people play it like this, a little bit controversially, like he did with other tunes. He sort of changed the chords on Thelonious Monk's Round Midnight. They were really good, but he wanted them to be another different kind of way. So he was able to set the table in a way so that he'd still take that original melody and float it over as only he could. But with the harmony that he was very intentional about it. You hear it on some of the outtakes, not on this record, but on some of the other stuff where he's being very specific, like what he wants Ron Carter to play, and like Herbie played this voicing. Like he had a sound that he wanted, and the harmony was very much a part of it. So that's my Desert Island track. Do you approve?
I do. My Desert Island track is the title track, Someday My Prince Will Come.
Oh, this one?
I love it so much.
So you could go to a desert island and just listen to this?
I do love it. I mean, would
you go out and hunt for food or just chill?
I'd probably just chill.
Then you'd be dead listening to this.
That's okay. I'm die happy.
Oh, Herbie Hancock. We know where from whence you came.
What about apex
master
moments?
you.
What's your apex moment?
Okay, my apex moment is a little bit off the beaten path, but I want to jump to this part of Drad-Dog. Do I have it on here? Yeah, check this out. I just love the tone that Wynton Kelly, his ideas, the clarity of it. And then he kind of, check it out. This is the end of Hank Mobley's solo.
Little double time feel here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's floating on top. His left hand is super quiet.
Man, that's so good.
He's kind of playing like as lyrically as Miles is, but on piano.
Little Herbie in there too, maybe.
Very much.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then Miles comes in. But it's not over yet. Wynton Kelly jumps back in the mix. Check it out. Oh, subtle groove. Double polychord. Wynton Kelly jumps in.
Yeah, it's nice. That's a good moment. That's
He's
a
all
very,
upon-
very good moment. You got the deep cut moments.
Man, he's all up on top of Miles, but it's like a conversation.
That's a really, yeah.
Oh man, sorry. Oh,
I don't know. I think I can one up you on this one.
that's good though. That's good stuff there.
It's good.
Wynton
but
Kelly.
Do we like good or do we like great?
Is that the great? Well, I think that might be
That's pretty great.
the greatest Wynton Kelly moment.
It could be.
And then, but he had so many because he was the master of just like sitting down and making a moment. But
Yeah.
that one is like, yeah. What do you got?
Oh, I got John Coltrane's
Oh,
solo
damn,
on
that's
Someday
right.
My Prince Will Come.
forgot about
So
that.
I don't know if you've ever heard that, but it's
If you love obvious great choices,
yeah. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Oh, look, there's a pink elephant stampeding through the studio. Okay, let's just give a little bit of background on this first.
Yeah.
They recorded Someday My Prince Will Come, of course. We listened to this already. Great intro. Miles plays, he solos. Hank Mobley solos.
Yeah, which we talked about might have been a little
Might have
bit
been
of
a
an
little
energetic
bit. And then
letdown.
Wynton Kelly, great solo.
Great solo from Wynton Kelly.
And then they get towards the end of the Wynton Kelly solo.
Like the train,
This is the last half of his. And
Did
then
he just have,
Train's
like-
walking in.
he's walking. That he just couldn't find parking. What was going on?
I don't know. Like Miles called him and was like, I think Miles called him because he's like, I don't like what Hank Mobley's playing.
Poor Hank. Hank catching strays all over this
But
podcast.
they're in the, the church, the 30th Street studio. And then they go back to play the melody to take the tune out. I mean, we're 5.5 minutes in.
Yeah, tune's over.
Coltrane walks in, it's like putting his horn together, they're recording. It's one room. This is not like a studio with a bunch of rooms. It's an old church.
So you think Miles is like,
I guess because well, we don't want to improvise too much, but maybe. But then they go back to the intro here, like they're going to segue out. But Jimmy Cobb knows Train
and then
is
one of the
there.
great moments ever?
Train looks at the chorus for the first time ever, literally reading it.
Jimmy
And
Cobb's
plays
so
it.
excited. Just turn over the tables. Ay, ay, ay. This is what I'm saying.
The rhythm section is like, hell's yeah.
It's just like every one of these, and this might be my favorite Train entrance,
Right.
but every time it's like just a sunbeam of truth cuts
Right.
into the studio.
And he's getting weird.
Yeah, he is, because life is weird.
And here,
That's what I'm saying, man.
this right here.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Miles is taking these gorgeous,
Yeah.
long, lyrical, harmon mute solos. You got Wynton Kelly, just like Mr. Swing, like Mr. Fun Time eighth note, just having like turning everything into a party. And then Train comes in, and you're like, the priest has arrived, and it's time
the 60s are here.
It's time to start worship service, because like the truth comes in the building, and spirituality is enlifted, and it's just.
And then Miles plays the melody again.
Play the melody again. It's great.
No, I agree. And it's I mean, we might be reading too much into this, but is this also like the 60s are here?
But like, yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
That is
it's like swing time is over. Rock and roll's here.
Yeah.
Like we got to do something.
Yeah, fuck.
And in fact,
great.
so this is 1961, and that might be a little jarring what Coltrane played. I mean, like in his first little, blah, 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 he played more notes than Miles played on the whole album.
But jarring in a way that someone like slaps you on the top of the head and is like, "Wake up!"
Slaps you on the top of the head with like a beautiful Bordeaux from, well, that would hurt, but you know.
It's the greatest part about this, about music, about jazz music, about improvisational music, is that a player's personality can come in and completely detune whatever situation is happening and like stir up the energy in a way that you're like, everybody in the room, you could feel the anticipation of Jimmy Cobb's like, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. You could just feel it in the band, the electricity that's about to happen. And it's
so
what
great.
An incredible recorded moment. We're so lucky to have it.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that he's playing these chords, he's looking at them, playing them for the first time.
So my Apex moment beats yours. Great. What about Bespoke?
They're both really good.
What about
let me just play this, though. This is 1961. So this, like we think about Miles and what he's transitioning to, Train was kind of already there. This is from his first Impulse record. I love this.
This is very good.
He's got two bass players, Jimmy Garrison and I think Art Davis, or maybe Richard Davis, McCoy Tyner. I didn't F, that's an E. 60s are coming.
The 60s had a lot
Elvin
more
Jones.
open E's on the bass, didn't they?
I think it's Elvin. Yeah, it's good. You can feel the waves, the tsunami.
Yeah.
That's what Train is bringing to the party. But remember what Coltrane said about Miles being the one that opened him up to the possibilities, to the freedom to go bonkers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bespoke playlist, what do you got?
Oh, this is silly after hearing that great music. When Jazz Dreams of Disney.
I like it.
There's a lot of like Disney. I actually played on a record back in the day. It was like Jazzy Disney record. You know, there's always these jazz Disney things. Brubeck did one. So anyway, that's silly.
I've got
yours is better.
Harmon Heaven.
That's good. It is Harmon Heaven.
In honor of the Harmon.
Yeah.
All
All right, let's get to Quibble bits next. This is our chance to complain about something. And I will remind you, this is a perfect record. So what you got?
Well, it's no such thing as a perfect record, but it is close. The only thing that I would say could make it better if there was more John Coltrane. I think that moment is
more cowbell, huh? More Coltrane, more cowbell.
You can never have enough John Coltrane. Imagine him playing on Old Folks. Imagine him playing on Pfrancing. Imagine him playing on I Thought About You. I think it makes for a better album.
I mean, he's on two tracks. I mean, what we just heard, of course, Someday My Prince Will Come, famous solo.
Yeah.
And then he's on T.O. He plays a great solo on there, lots of notes, really interesting. I don't know, to me, it's kind of part of the sound of this record, him just jumping at those two different places, you know.
Don't you want more of that sound?
Of course I want more, and I can go hear that on his other records. I don't know, of course it would be great. It would change the character of this record a lot,
if there was no Hank Mobley and all John Coltrane, do you think this is a better album?
No.
All right.
I don't.
Okay.
Which is weird because my Quibble bit is Hank Mobley.
I was going to say, I thought you weren't super into what Hank Mobley was doing on this.
But I think holistically, when I look at this record, I think it just all works. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can't argue with the results.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so like having Hank Mobley, which objectively one could say is a little bit subpar to the other individuals that are on this record, but he's a team player. I don't know, maybe he's doing what needs to be done. And then Coltrane, when he comes in, he's a team player. And Miles is like holding this whole thing together. You know, maybe they got lucky. Maybe, you know, T.O. produced it. I mean, it's all kind of intersection of like luck and great skill and great playing and everything. But yeah, to me, Hank Mobley's just a small quibble bit in that his playing, there's a little bit of, in terms of the arc of the improvisatory creativity, falls, and the swing feel, maybe just a little bit falls off, but it's a great record.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how snobby is this album? Is it 1, not very snobby at all, or 10, very, very snobby.
Yeah, I would put this at a 5. Clearly,
Everything's at a 5.
No, but this is a perfect example of a 5. Let's be honest.
I think this is a 3. I think this is less snobby. I think just with all the packaging, with the Disney song to lend it, I think it's a little less snobby than I think Plug Nichols.
But we
like
love
a
this
6.
record. That always pushes it more towards snobby. We are snobs. Let's move on.
Okay, all right.
Right? Sorry.
Is it better than Kind of Blue?
No.
No, not even close.
Au contraire, mon frère.
I don't think it's
Very close.
I don't think it's close.
I was about to say yes.
I think if
Just to
Kind of
throw
Blue is a 9, this is a 7.5.
How can you say it's not even close? I mean, it's like the same personnel almost.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Cannonball Adderley.
It doesn't sound as good.
Doesn't have
and
Bill Evans.
It doesn't have Cannonball Adderley. It doesn't have John Coltrane.
It doesn't sound as good? It sounds as good.
I don't think it sounds as
Okay.
good.
I think they had the piano in better shape, or maybe it was a different piano on Kind of Blue.
I mean, you think about
The actual
Wynton
piano.
Kelly solo on Freddie Freeloader versus Pfrancing. Great
Same.
solos, but the piano sounded way better on Freddie Freeloader.
Not way better. It's not a little better.
Okay. Accoutrements. These are special accoutrements.
I'm going to go 9.
Yeah, I
and,
agree.
and it could be, so shout out Bob Cato out of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Cuban, New Orleans individual.
Incredible
that
cover.
Did so many great covers. The famous Led Zeppelin first record, Bob Dylan, the Barbra Streisand on the beach on Columbia. Just great. And a lot of times people could say, oh, it's just a picture of a beautiful woman. That's what makes it. No, there's design to this. Like, look at all this. Look at all this, Adam.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Incredible design, iconic. Bob Cato, shout out.
Well, and shout out to Miles Davis. You mentioned that he started insisting that his labels put black women on his album covers.
And no liner notes.
And no liner
And
notes.
so that was a big
makes
part
it
of the design.
that much better.
Yeah.
Okay, up next.
Up next, I've got Live the Black Hawk. They recorded it a month later.
Good call.
Great club, San Francisco. They did Friday night and Saturday night, 2 different LPs, which you think would be overkill.
Yeah.
But it's not. Both of those records are incredible. I'm partial to Saturday night, but Friday night's amazing too. I mean, some of the great Wynton Kelly playing. Hank Mobley is firing at a higher level than on this record, I think.
Yeah,
I got
agree.
no quibble
I
bits
agree.
with him on that.
It's a great band.
Miles is killing.
They're playing their best.
Great
and
sound.
What's cool now is you can listen to that whole weekend, essentially, like right in a row.
Yep.
I have John Coltrane's My Favorite Things.
That's good.
As an
Atlantic
option.
Records.
I also have...
That was from 60, maybe? Yeah, so it was right around his. Right around
59?
Maybe. Same thing.
I also wanted to... I think John Ellis, great tenor saxophonist John Ellis, has an album called "It's You I Like." That's the music of Mr. Rogers. And just as we're talking about like our children's "Someday My Prince Will Come," my favorite things,
innocent jazz,
some childlike
non-cocaine
wonder,
jazz.
childlike wonder jazz. But it's a great album. "It's You I Like" from incredible tenor saxophonist John Ellis.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. You mentioned the newsletter. Folks can go to you'llhearit.com to sign up for You'll Read It.
That's right. Go to you'llhearit.com, sign up for You'll Read It, and get a newsletter every week.
Yeah.
Some behind the scenes stuff.
Some announcements,
some announcements. You get articles from Caleb, from Sam, from Liz, from our whole team here.
We might even write something someday.
We will definitely write something
if we can get our
someday.
high school accreditation.
I have to learn how to read first, but yes.
Also, check out. I will let you know about a certain program we have called Open Studio Pro. We get a lot of questions about this because people think it's for pros. No, it's for if you want to learn how to practice like a pro, how to treat music like a profession, right? Actually, no, it's about how to live a musical life. It's what it's really about. And you can learn more if you go to openstudiojazz.com/pro. It's our most popular program we've had. It's an amazing community of like-minded folks getting together 6 days a week for live classes. And I'm so excited about it, inspired every time I go in there and see our amazing students from around the world.
Can we talk
over
about
120 countries now?
Can we talk about the
That's crazy.
It's it's nuts.
That's crazy.
And it is
Name
a really
120 countries right now.
Austria.
Andorra. We're doing all the A's.
Yeah. So what about a gala, Peter? Can I talk to you a little bit about a gala?
I don't know about a gala. I know about a gala.
So I want to read a couple of ratings and reviews here. So a gala is our gentlemen and ladies agreement.
We're bringing it back.
We're bringing it back. And so we bring you this podcast.
Backstreet's back. All right.
The podcast doesn't cost anything, but it does.
It does. It's super expensive.
We require you to go onto your Apple podcast or your Spotify podcast or YouTube and leave us a comment or a rating and review. Here's some great ratings that we have from some listeners on our Apple podcast. So 5 stars, wonderful. I love all the background insights on these incredible albums. Really an excellent show. Gala. And that's from Wolfric16. Another 7-star. Gala review, 7 stars out of 4. We only take 7-star reviews. Yeah, it's 5. But for those of us mathematically challenged musicians, just know that means greater than you'd hope for, with 100% being the best you can hope for.
Yeah.
And that was from JBC 2015-32. Thank you, JBC.
JB.
And then one more, excellence from Boomer Music Lover, right up our alley. 5 stars. My thanks to Peter and Adam for helping me understand my favorite music better and introducing me to more great music. In addition to enjoying your enthusiastic and skillful explanations, I so enjoy when y'all perform covers at the end of the show. Thank you very much, Boomer Music Lover. We love playing for you.
In that spirit, that's about what we're going to go do right now.
Let's go do it.
All right. Till next time.
You'll hear it.